Hi, everybody. Welcome into Brad Sesmet's Football AZ. I'm Jordan Ham. It's the end of October, and that means it's a busy time for high school, college, and pro football. And over the next half hour, we'll have you covered on all three of those. This starting lineup is brought to you by Sagicor Now. Sagicor Now, protect what matters most. On this edition of Brad Sesmet's Football AZ, we're going to have Steve Wyche of the NFL Network help break down everything going on with the Arizona Cardinals on the field, off the field. There's a lot to get to with Steve Wyche. ASU sideline savant Jordan Simone comes in studio to talk about the crucial stretch the Sun Devils are going on over the next 5 weeks. A lot of Pac-12 South opponents in there as they wrap up their season. Haley, Eric, and Devin Henry are going over the latest high school football storylines in AZ Audibles, and of course, the recruiting roundup with myself and Jason Jewell. We're going to cover some of the top commitments and offers this week in the state of Arizona. That's coming up on tonight's show. We start with the Arizona Cardinals. Mike McCoy is out, Byron Leftwich is in, and Steve Wilks is hoping that can provide some stability for his young quarterback.
I think what Byron is going to do, from what he and I have talked about, is really trying to figure out what Josh does well. I think that's the key thing. When you have a young quarterback, you want to make sure that we're putting him in position to where he can go out there and don't have to think as much. And those are the things that we're talking about, and those are the things we're going to try to do moving forward.
Josh Rosen was taken 10th overall, took over starting duties very early on in his career. Byron Leftwich taken 7th overall in 2003, also wasted no time getting on the field. What does he need to do to help stabilize that position for Josh Rosen moving forward for this offense?
Well, I mean, the main thing you got to do is hope that that the Rams or the Cowboys' offensive line falls into his lap. But there's just so many different things going on with this team. The offensive line is not playing good. They just can't figure things out right now. The key thing to me is to somehow try and establish a ground game and get David Johnson involved. And I think that's the biggest head scratcher for everybody who follows Arizona. Is like, here's a guy who is just a stud, and he's just not being, the dominant player that he was. And I saw this 2 years ago with Todd Gurley. I think if Byron Leftwich can take, not necessarily some of the schemes, but some of the strategies that we've seen teams like the Rams use when you've got a young quarterback and a stud running back, and find out creative ways to get that player in single coverage or matched up where he's just got to make one player miss, that will be the best thing for this offense and for Josh Rosen to gain some confidence and to get some type of symmetry going offensively. Because, again, right now they're just all over the place.
Talking to Steve Wyche of the NFL Network. You can follow him at Wyche89, and he is on every Monday on the NFL Network's The Aftermath at 12 noon Pacific. On top of everything that's been going on with Josh Rosen and the offense, reports came out on Monday that Patrick Peterson was requesting a trade. When you have reports like that swirling around a team that has plenty that they already have to work through, just what does that do to the locker room and the front office when you have an all-pro type player potentially requesting a trade?
Well, clearly the damage has already been done. If this is true, and there's every occasion to believe that's the case, when I say the damage has been done, I mean, him making this trade and it becoming public, this trade request and it becoming public, is not going to do much more damage than the fact that in that locker room, he's fed up. I'm sure his teammates know about it. I'm sure he's not the only one that's fed up. Players hate losing. They have finite careers. And Patrick Peterson has only tasted success a few times since he's been with Arizona. Probably wants to get into a situation where he could potentially win. But when you ask for a trade, you got to be careful, because you could end up getting traded into a situation that benefits the team and not necessarily you. This is a very, very tough situation for a first-year coach to deal with, because the biggest obstacle any first-year coach has to prove to his players is that he knows what he's doing. And when you lose this many games, and you already fire your OC, you got your star player, reportedly asking for a trade, there might be some people wondering, okay, what's going on here? You already had your general manager, who was suspended during training camp. Like, what type of organization am I dealing with right here? There's still plenty of talent on this team. They have just got to now get into a position where this anchor isn't completely dropping, at full speed and try to win some ball games, because that makes everybody feel better. And they've got an opportunity against a Niners team that's kind of going through some of the same things they're going through.
Steve, great stuff. As always, we appreciate the time.
Anytime. Thanks a lot.
I'm Haley Stasiak. Coming up on AZ Audibles, we're talking about our regular season takeaways and the storylines we're following into the playoffs.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan Simone, and coming up next, I'll be talking with the other Jordan about ASU football. Stick around.
And it's been a very busy week for the NAU Lumberjacks. Jason Jewell and I will break that down on the recruiting roundup, and make sure to check out all of our content on sports360az.com.